Dear students, welcome to Department of Mass Communication. I am Dr. Tasha Singh, your course coordinator for Artificial Intelligence 5G, Augmented Reality and Virtual Reality course, which has the course code PAJC 2027. Today, in this lecture, I am going to teach you about film and television with artificial intelligence. AI. In the last lecture, we discussed about the types of artificial intelligence, where we talked about the classification which is based on capabilities, that is narrow AI, general AI, and super AI. And we also give the classification based on functionalities, which is reactive machines, limited theory, theory of mind, and self-awareness. So let us move to this lecture where we are going to understand the applications of AI in film and TV. So the topic that I'm going to cover in this particular presentation will be about the content recommendation, which is recommendation engines, personalized targeting and search optimization, the product quality, where we use AI for automation of subtitle check, the streaming quality, and the production, which is content automation. The objective of this lecture is to enable students to learn the nature of varied applications of artificial intelligence and also to be able to use AI for the work in media and entertainment industry. So students, what is a recommendation engine or system in AI world? A recommendation engine is a system that suggests products, services, information to users based on analysis of data. Notwithstanding, the recommendation can derive from a variety of factors such as the history of the user and the behavior of the similar users. Recommendation systems are quickly becoming the primary ways for users to expose to the digital world through the means of lenses of their experience, behavior, preferences, and interests. And in a world of information density and product overload, a recommendation engine provides an efficient way for companies to provide consumers with personalized informations and solutions. What is the benefits of recommendation engines? A recommendation engine can significantly boost revenue, click-through rate, conversions, and other essential metrics. It has positive effects on the user's experience and thus translating to higher customer satisfaction and retention. Let's take Netflix as an example. Instead of having to browse through thousands of box sets and movie titles, Netflix presents you with much more narrow selection of the items that you are likely to enjoy. This capability saves your function. Netflix achieved lower cancellation rates, saving the company around $1 billion a year. Although recommender systems have been used for almost 20 years by companies like Amazon, it has been proliferated to other industries such as finance and travel during the last few years. In broad terms, how does recommendation engine works? Recommendation engine needs to know you better to be effective with their suggestions. Therefore, the information that they collect and integrate is a critical aspect of the process. This can be information related to explicit interactions, for example, information about your past activity, your rating, reviews, and other information about your profile, such as gender, age, or investment objectives. These can combine with implicit interactions such as the device you use for access, clicks on a link, location, and dates. There are three main types of techniques for recommendation systems: content-based filtering, collaborative filtering, and knowledge-based system. Now, what is content-based filtering? Content-based filtering is based on single user's interaction and preferences. Recommendations are based on metadata collected from users' history and interaction. For example, recommendation will be based on looking at established pattern in a user's choice or behavior. Returning information such as product or services will relate to your likes or views. With an approach like this, the more information that the user provides, the higher is the accuracy. Given that privacy and regulatory issues are important in some industries, services, personal metadata, and individual transactional data can be missing at the outset. So these issues are commonly known as cold start problems for recommender system using this approach. Cold start occurs when a recommender system cannot draw inferences from a query due to lack of insufficient information. A particular form of content-based recommendation system is a case-based recommender. These evaluate item similarities and have been extensively deployed in e-commerce. A recommendation like product similar to this is a typical instance for this type of approach. Overall, these are limited though to the specific domain and at the level of categorization available. Collaborative filtering is another commonly used technique. Collaborative filtering casts as much wider net, collecting information from the interaction from many other users to drive suggestions for you. This approach makes recommendation based on other users with similar tasks or situation. For example, by using their opinion and action to recommend item to you or to identify how one product may go well with another. Next, by recommendation is a typical usage. Collaborative filtering method usually has higher accuracy than content-based filtering. However, they can also introduce some increased variability and sometimes less interpretable results. These are especially weak in the absence of previously collected data. Without meaningful information on other, it becomes harder naturally to participate in a single person action. So students, I hope you have understood what is recommendation engine. Now let us understand personalized targeting. Users experience personalization is a strategy that is at the top heart of the ever-changing digital era. I watch Netflix as my primary source of entertainment. No doubt, Amazon Prime and other such video streaming platforms offer some excellent content too. But I somehow just go to my home screen and tap on the Netflix app wherever I'm looking to watch something. The reason is the users experience personalization on their application that they offer millions of other users and me through their powerful recommendation engine. Recently, Netflix took UX personalization to the next level where they debuted a unique and interactive choose your own adventure film wherein they made us view active participants, and Black Mirror Bandersnatch is an interactive movie that puts user in the driver's seat and allow them to control the story. I had never heard of any video streaming platform taking users' experience personalization to this level. Out of sheer excitement, I watched this movie and honestly interacting with Bandersnatch was something unique and exciting for me to experience as a user. This personalized experience magic can be easily deciphered from the fact that 80% of the users or the viewers on Netflix came from personalized recommendation alone. This is not just true for video streaming apps today. Offering users experience personalization amalgamated with the latest UX trends has disrupted all the industry, thereby acting as a product strategy. So what is UX experience personalization? Personalization is a process that enables us to tailor customers' journey and experience as per the need and the preferences of a specific customer. It deals with real-time individualization of a product service to suit each visitor's unique need and guide them through a custom of convenience. So, a research by Forrester reveals that personalization is crucial for marketers seeking to enhance customer centricity and engagement. Thus, delivering users experience personalization has become a key approach for CMOs to attract and convert potential customers. Personalization is anticipation. When you personalize your website, app, or any product, you anticipate what your users need or want. Giving them something useful without having them to ask for it takes them to a new level of experience altogether. Here is an example. Amazon's anticipatory shipping receiving the product is just a few minutes of tapping the buy button would be a real win for Amazon in delivering personalized users experience. So personalization is also dynamic. There is a need for content to learn and adapt because 74% of the online consumers get frustrated with the websites when content appears that has nothing to do with their interest. So the dynamic personalization enables content to learn and adapt. However, when you personalize users' experience, you are offering something useful based on the user's characteristics, behavior, attitude, and or data analysis. So dynamic personalization makes use of algorithms to create an image of their potential customers, their needs and buying habits based upon factors like demographics, geolocations, behavior and devices. Machine learning is another part of the dynamic personalization which relies on the combination of algorithms, filters and analytics to predict a user's typical behavior with your brand. Following the algorithm are utilized. Basic algorithm does not rely on customers' personal data. Advanced algorithm rely on customers' personal data. Once the information is received, dynamic personalization can help tailor every interaction your customer has with your brand. For instance, Google keeps track of your upcoming flight, trains, bus reservations, appointment, interview, etc. and notifies you before the scheduled time, given that this information is stored on your phone. So the user's experience, customization versus personalization, the end goal of both the personalization and customized user experience is the same, an experience tailored to your customer's need. However, the way to achieve this goal are different. Personalization is when the data and technology are controlled behind the screen to tailor an individual experience in real time, that is called personalization. Customization is when users are given a set of features at an interface where they can choose what they want. So Facebook uses UX customization by leaving it to the users to choose the content that they would like the best. Also, Facebook provides you with the option to turn on notification of individual people, pages or posts. So personalization UX example, Amazon makes you the use of purchasing history of their customers so as to personalize and come up with the special offers for them. So this sort of personalization not just brings value to the customer but also boosts customer retention. Now, artificial intelligence is a study of building agents that act rationally. Most of the time, agents perform some kind of search algorithms in the background in order to achieve their task. A search problem consists of a state space, set of all possible states where you can be. A start state, that is the state from where the search began. A goal test, a function that looks at the current state returns whether or not it is the goal state. So the solution to search problem is a sequence of action called the plan that transforms the start state to the goal state. So this plan is achieved through search algorithm. Types of search algorithms. There are far too many powerful search algorithms out there to fit in a single article. Instead, this article will discuss the 6 of the fundamental search algorithms divided into 2 categories such as uniform search algorithms. The search algorithm in this section will have no additional information on the goal node other than the one provided in the problem definition. The plan to reach the goal state from the start state differs only by the order or the length of action. Your uninformed search is also called blind search. The following uninformed search algorithms are discussed like depth first search, breadth first search, uniform post search. Each of these algorithms will have a problem graph containing the start node S and the goal node G. A strategy describing the manner in which the graph will be traveling from S to G is the fringe, which is a data structure used to store all the possible states that you can go from the current states. A tree that results while uh, you know uh, traveling from both the nodes. A solution plan which the sequence of the nodes from S to G. Depth first search is what? Is basically DFS, is an algorithm of traversing or searching tree or graph data structures. The algorithm starts at the root node, some arbitrary nodes as the root nodes in the same case, and explores as far as possible along each branch before backtracking. Now, beneath first search is an algorithm of searching tree or graphs data structure. It starts with the tree root, then and explores all the neighbor nodes at the present depth prior to moving on to the node to the next level. Uniform cost search is a different from the other two, because here the cost came into play. In other words, different edges might not have the same cost. The goal is to find a path where the cumulative sum of the cost is least. So informed search algorithms. Here the algorithm have information on the goal state which help in more efficient searching. This information is obtained by something called as heuristic. So in this section we will discuss how following search algorithms work. Greedy search, where we have tree search, graph search. Now greedy search, we expand the node closest to the goal node. The closeness is estimated by heuristic. So these are all basically the algorithms, and these are all the codes which are given and which are used by people in computer science who are developing these algorithms so as to make this search optimization enable. Okay, students? Now let us understand the automation of subtitle check. In overly simplified terms, the way AI creates closed caption is through speech to text. Now what is a subtitle? The word at the bottom of the picture on a television or at a cinema is basically the subtitle, which translates the words of a foreign film or a program or a show, the words that are spoken to help people understand the content. That is subtitles. Now, earlier subtitles were manually written, but nowadays because of the AI we have the softwares which actually help us in automatically make the subtitles, create the subtitles. How it perform it? It perform it through speech to text. So there are a variety of elements that go into this process, including automated speech recognition. Many of these are focused around providing not just captions or subtitles, but to improve accuracy of the final product as well. These concepts and technologies include speech recognition. Okay, then after speech recognition, what is the other thing? It is artificial intelligence vocabulary. What is artificial intelligence vocabulary? As part of the speech recognition, will try to match what it recognizes as a speech against a vocabulary list of terms. Now AI can only transcribe words that it knows. If it's not familiar with a term, it will try its best to link it with something in its vocabulary. For example, if the term webinar isn't known, it might give results like weapon are the closest proximity. Then audio recognition. Another aspect involves being able to recognize and separate sound from actual speech. And this can be something like crowd sharing, cheering, but can also be noises like ball being hit or a player grunting at their trips. Okay. Then basically, language identification is another way of making automation subtitles, where content will generally be in a single language. Some content can be mixed. For example, a news program might shift from an announcer in English to an interview with someone speaking in Spanish. So in those scenarios, it is very beneficial for the technology to be able to detect and identify the different language at any given time. So this is AI language. Okay, students. So likewise, these are, then we also have something called as diaryization. Now diary and diaryization deals with the capability of being able to separate different speakers. For example, an interview will have multiple number of people speaking. Sometimes one person asking question and multiple people are answering. Being able to separate speakers can be important to understand different accents and dialects, and if appropriate, to maintain accuracy. So this can also help in breakup captions by recognizing when a person starts and stops speaking, and this can be either to separate them between different speakers or add more appropriate punctuations as needed. So this could even be used to note the speakers and the association given by them as much as possible for advanced understanding. Then context. Are you looking for the bare necessity or bare necessities? Did someone just ate, or did they have eight of something? So homophones, which are sounding similar sounds, so 8 and 8, so it could be ate, it could be eight, so 8 8. So for that we have to keep enable context of our speech, and that is also now possible with automation in AI, where homophones are also understood. And finally, to bring more accuracy, we, as per the context, try to frame them in the sentence. For example, both the kids was a mirror and the kids was a minor, so could be correct. However, by the fact that a kid is involved, it's possibly talking about their age and not their professions. So in this case, the context of the content as a whole can help and become valuable for the AI to learn on this. Okay, so this is how automation helps. Another application of AI into film and video streaming is the streaming quality. Streaming refers to any media content, live or recorded, delivered to computer, mobile devices by internet, played back in real time. Podcast, webcast, movie, TV shows, and music videos are common forms of streaming content. So artificial intelligence driven technologies like deep learning, machine learning, and natural language processing are the next generation of transformational technologies for video analysis, production, and streaming, emerging in the market, which can adapt, sense, or act to improvise the performance over data. You could see this is a working model given, where we could see that how the content is streamed. Students, in the age of big data, where people are asking that whether could you automate the content also? Is it possible? AI can sort and organize content, recognize images, and link concepts, greatly increasing the efficacy of a tool like a digital asset management system. Attorneys can find case laws, legal precedents can be written. Even use of AI is helped to craft contracts and arguments in court. AI can analyze huge amount of data, creating reports, recognizing trends, and finding opportunities for business intelligence. The first ingredient is the data. Automation won't be cost or time efficient if there isn't enough data to power the narrative. Okay, what else do you need? Unstructured data still problematic, so the data that goes into a system determines what comes out. With the rise of the image, video, sensor, and other net new types and formats of data, it must be correctly formatted, cleaned, and processed before it is given to the machine for scaling. The approach must be multidisciplinary. Automated content requires a variety of viewpoints and governance process to make sure content is on brand, aligned with the communication strategy, accurate, and flows from available data and system. So transparency is also required in the data, and human supervision is also required, as these machines work with the opinion which are submitted or which are given by the human beings only. So human supervision is very much important in content automation, so that the context is correctly transferred. So basically, algorithms aren't neutral because they are created by humans. Algorithms are created predominantly by white males who lives in Silicon Valley. So they create is subject to their own perspective, biasness, and limitations. So the ways in which the data are interpreted and delivered can be colored by those outlooks, irrelevant at the best or offset at worst. Students, here is a summary of our lecture. Today we tried to understand that how TV and film with AI can be surfaced in the digital time, in the digital era. We could see that content recommendation is possible because of the AI, product quality can be enhanced because of the AI, and production could be enhanced because of the AI. Here are your questions for practice. What do you understand by content automation? Discuss the use of AI in streaming and suggest some good and recent research papers on artificial intelligence in video content creation. Thank you students for your time and being a patient listener. Please practice those questions, and for any queries we can discuss in the class.